Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goedemorgen, ishpata.
Pagkairagale, ni hao, tuna shumme, washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aaya, and thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning. Alongside the very fantastic, the very stunning, the very amazing, the very hardworking, the very learned, Miss Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may probably be, we hope and pray that everybody is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. Hello, Shiza. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you so much for asking, and I have to say that all the words that you use for me are equally actually go for you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's definitely a teamwork, which is why we're able to bring all the latest and the right kind of information to all of you every other morning, and we love doing that.
Wow.
I hope and pray all of you are going to have an amazing day. And I think to begin with, I'm going to ask you for some updates.
Yep.
All of you who know me out there, you do know I'm not a massive sports fan. But I do like to catch up, right, on what's happening. So what happened in PSL yesterday, Shahzad?
All
If you
right,
can fill me
I
in.
certainly want to talk about PSL, but Shiza, before we kind of move on towards PSL, there's quite a lot, which goes around in your life. And, just yesterday we have discussed that, that there will always be a positive impact on your emotional intelligence if you're going to get the right amount of feedback. Or
Yes.
the right feedback as well. But then there was this thin line where people would certainly want to criticize you because of the fact that they are not just happy with you in any case. No matter how happy you want them to be, they will never ever be happy with you. And there are certain people who will always have these personality clashes as well. Have you ever come across such a situation where people had a personality clash with you, and how did you resolve it? That's one thing I wanted to talk about today.
Well, it happens, right, in all different spheres as well. Maybe it's your workplace, maybe it's your school, university for that matter. For all the young students out there, even it happens. Even in family, it does happen. In terms of resolution, in all honesty, I cannot tell you guys what to do. I'd never know how to resolve. But for you to understand, I mean, give them the benefit of doubt. It's a type of people, right? You can't fight with a type. You can't fix a type. You can just be so graceful in your own self that they will probably at one point realize that, all right, I need to fix myself. I think that's literally all I have sort of learned about this similar situation. What about you, though?
Exactly. But ladies and gentlemen, before we move on any further, we have been told that the Minister for Information Broadcasting, Mr. Fawad Chaudhry, will be addressing the media on the occasion where Prime Minister Imran Khan will be.
इमरान खान एक आला सतही वफद के साथ चीन के एक बहुत ही अहम दौरे के ऊपर रवाना हो रहे हैं, जहां पर उनकी मुलाकात होगी प्रेसिडेंट शी से। प्रेसिडेंट शी 2 साल के बाद पहली बार किसी आलमी रहनुमा से मुलाकात करेंगे और वो पाकिस्तान के वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान होंगे। इस जो चीन का दौरा है, इसका जो बुनियादी मकसद है वो सरमाई ओलंपिक्स में पाकिस्तान की नुमाइंदगी करना है, और सरमाई ओलंपिक्स में जो एक इफ्तिताई तकरीब है उसमें पाकिस्तान की तरफ से जो खैर सगाली का जज्बा है वो चीन तक पहुंचाना है। 20 और ममालिक के सरबराहान इस वक्त चीन में मौजूद हैं। वज़ीर आज़म साहब की जो मुलाकातें हैं उनमें बहुत ही तफसीली मुलाकातें शामिल हैं चीन के बिजनेसेस से, और चीन के बहुत सारे बिजनेसेस इस दौरे के बाद इंशाल्लाह पाकिस्तान में अपनी जो इंडस्ट्री है चीन की एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा वो पाकिस्तान में शिफ्ट होगा। उसके साथ साथ वज़ीर आज़म की प्रेसिडेंट शी और वज़ीर आज़म ली से मुलाकातें होंगी अलहदा-अलहदा, और जो चीन के बड़े सरमायाकार हैं उनसे भी उनकी मुलाकातें जो हैं वो तय हैं। सो इंशाल्लाह ये दौरा पाकिस्तान और चीन के दरमियान ताल्लुकात की जो पहले से ही अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हिमालय से ऊँचे और बहरा अरब से गहरे हैं, उनमें उनकी जो वुसअत है उसमें मज़ीद इजाफा करेगा।
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry Saab, who was addressing the media, where he said that Prime Minister Imran Khan will be leaving for China today to attend the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics. And not just that, obviously he will get to see the Chinese Prime Minister and the President as well. But not just that, obviously matters related to CPAC will be discussed. And not just that, there have been 21 different sectors which have been identified, which will be under discussion while the Pakistani premier will be there. Wow, it looks wonderful and it sounds wonderful.
And sounds
Mr.
very
Fawad
promising.
Chaudhry, towards the end, he even said that, that the relationship in between Pakistani people and Chinese people, or Pakistan and China diplomatically, ladies and gentlemen, is higher than, the coldest desert, obviously, and then the deeper than the deepest sea as well, or the deepest ocean, which we believe wonderfully as well. And, what I would really want to say over here is Pak-Chin Dosti, Wong Swai.
Wong Swai,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think that's really important. But now, she's coming back to the point where you were telling us that, there's always a different type of person.
Right.
And you really do not want to encounter that.
Right. So particularly what you were talking about, how someone just makes it their life's purpose to have a personality clash with you,
Yep.
or just absolutely hate anything you do. Just give them the benefit of the doubt that it's their type. It has nothing to do with you. You did not harm them. Your personality is absolutely fine. It has something to do with them. And I think ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss, ladies and gentlemen. I so wanted to talk further on this as well. But since we're short on time, we have a lot of wonderful people who are going to be joining us over here in the studios as well. So very quickly, I think what we need to do is that, as Shiza mentioned, that she wanted to kind of get all the updates on Pakistan Super League. So I think it's about time that we give you all the updates on Pakistan Super League, where, ladies and gentlemen, the competition last night was in between Lahore Qalandars and Peshawar Zalmi, where Lahore Qalandars, batting first, ladies and gentlemen, made 199 for the loss of 4 wickets. It was, wonderful batting shown by Lahore Qalandar, wonderful character within the depth of the batting order as well, where Abdullah Shafiq made 41 out of 31 on 31 balls, Fakhar Zaman 66 of 38. Kamran Ghulam, one of the highest scorers of the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy back in 2019 or 2019. He did a wonderful job as well. David Wiese from Lahore Qalandars, ladies and gentlemen, 2 overs, 11 runs with 2 wickets. Zaman Khan, 4 overs, gave away 32 runs with 3 wickets. And Shaheen Shah Afridi, 4 overs, 19 runs and 2 wickets. Wow, what a wonderful display of captaincy by the skipper himself. But when we come down to Peshawar Zalmi, ladies and gentlemen, Zaza went back to the dugout, that too in a little bit of shame because he went out dark. Kamran Akmal, 41 of 24, Haider Ali, 49 of 34. Very unfortunate that Haider really couldn't make it to the half century. A wonderful youngster who's making waves as well. We're talking about Peshawar Zalmi bowling, where it was Salman Irshad who gave away 47 runs in 4 overs, economically a little higher as well, but with 2 wickets. Usman Qadir, I mean, what a wonderful bowler he is, giving away 43 runs in 4 overs and taking 1 wicket, and Hussain Talat with just 3 overs giving away 19 runs and 1 wicket, and the match summary is right in front of you.
Right, so where are they on the points table, generally speaking?
All right, so after the playoffs, obviously, it's the Islamabad United. Then on top, I guess it's Multan Sultan. Then Lahore Qalandar, I believe, is on number 4. And then on number 3 happens to be... Well, I really need to be sure about it.
All right, it's all right.
So we can do it after the break.
Definitely, we'll do that. Ladies and gentlemen, we will, as long as PSL is going on, Shazad will keep bringing the highlights to all of you every morning as well. But very quickly coming down to what we are talking about today. All right, I don't think we can, in just a few words, do justice to it, but we need to learn as a developing country, right? Urbanization. Loosely speaking, it is migrating from rural areas with lesser resources towards city life, right? And in this very region, Southeast Asia, Pakistan has the highest rate of urbanization.
True.
Now, in a larger sense, in a global sense, urbanization is a good indication because it says that it is directly related to economic growth.
Only if we refer to planned urbanization.
Definitely, that's what I was coming to, thank you. So, but it's not the same in all cases as well. So today in this show, we want to sort of discover the facts why Pakistan's urbanization isn't at par with the world's, if it isn't. Secondly, if it's at such a huge rate, is it, are we supposed to control it? Are we supposed to support it actually to, keep going on? So many things on my mind that we need to discuss without any further...
Or are we just supposed to sit back and relax,
And relax, absolutely.
So which is why I'm going to share a few figures, ladies and gentlemen. So imagine back in 1950, it was the 18% population of the whole of Pakistan was living in urbanized areas, or, we had 18% of urbanization. But imagine that, the census of 2017 tells us that, in the South Asian subcontinent, we are on top of the list with 4% increase per annum. And not just that, imagine that we actually, in 2019, how many houses did we need?
Around 10 million.
Around 10 million.
We had a deficit, right?
And as we speak about it today, ladies and gentlemen, in 2022, we need 28 million houses, and there's a backlog. and we are only producing 250,000 houses. But now, what we really need to think about is that, okay, because majority of the urbanized population actually lives in, let's start from Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad,
Islamabad.
Peshawar, and then Multan.
9 major
And,
cities.
and all 9 or 10 major cities as well. But imagine, ladies and gentlemen, everybody has the right to live a very healthy and a luxurious life where everything is at your disposal, may it be medical assistance, may it be education.
Absolutely.
But are we doing it in a manner where we will actually save our agricultural land as well, and then at the same time we will be giving the people the liberty to live the way they want to live? That's something which we are discussing today, and we're very lucky that we have actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the urban development specialist as well. He is Mr. Muhammad Abdullah. Hello sir, Assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड वालेकुम सलाम। सबसे पहले तो मैं आप दोनों का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं कि आज इस हार्ट बर्निंग और बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज़ के ऊपर आपने स्टार्ट किया।
Thank you very much, sir. But we will actually request you to please, if you can, speak in English because we are the only English channel in the country.
okay.
So that'll be wonderful.
So that's it's okay to me. So we are the being a Pakistan, it's the largest urban growth country in the world nowadays. In South Asia, we are the fastest growing at the 4% per annum.
Yep.
What it means that at the, as you mentioned that in 1950 Pakistan was the urban population was 18%, and now it's in 2017 it is 36%.
Okay.
36% means that 80 million populations are living in urban areas.
Yep.
Right.
And we are not providing these services to the residents of the urbanized communities and planned communities, as you mentioned, and then the affordable. Both were the shortage, and ultimately peoples are moving towards slums. It's not important the issues that what is happening nowadays, but I'm much worried about that what is coming in the future. In 2040, our 50% urban population will be living in urban areas, and in 2040 our population will be more than 300 peoples. So this means that double the population. Current 2017 census is saying that 80 million population. In 2040 it will be 150 million. So that every city has a double size in the next 17 years.
Yep.
We have not planned our cities, and we are not providing those services to the coming populations or the migrating populations, for which we have to be provide the infrastructure and the health and educational facilities and the urban environment.
And so thank you very much for raising this very important point. And me and Shiza, we have been talking about it, not even lately. I think we've been talking about it earlier as well. But because, let's take an example from our federal capital, Islamabad, where how wonderfully planned it is till the time you reach F11. And beyond F11, if you're going to go down the road where it's B17, F17, I don't know how many sectors are there, you see all of that ill planning. You see that how CDA is not being able to control where the development really needs to take place. We have seen the E11 incident where, just because of rain, a lot of people lost their lives because, they actually have encroached and they have made houses on places where they were not supposed to. So imagine if that's the kind of control we're going to have, how will we solve this problem, which is right at our footstep or doorstep?
Again, I will say the same thing, which I have already spoken about, that in Islamabad, we need 25,000 housing units a year.
All right.
We are only providing two or 3,000 housing units, planned units in a year. Where the rest 22 to 23,000 units are going? They are going in the Baraku, in slums, Kachi Abadis, and urban settlements, slum settlements. So we have to be provide 25,000 units in Islamabad and 30,000 units in Pindi, twin cities. So almost you need 50,000 units in a year, and both cities are providing only 20% of the total requirement. So what is happening that our legislations and the rules regulations which support to the development is not conducive to the development.
Right, it isn't.
So those are the areas which we have to be addressed. Secondly, I will say that our all urban areas has been converted into the slums.
Yes, that's true.
So what is slum? Now understand that we are sitting on a hot tub and a burning issue, that the hepatitis and all those epidemics which is coming.
And we won't be safe even.
So the environmental deterioration is going on, and that is the reasons that nowadays all urban areas, Islamabad population 60% is living in slums. The most
60%.
planned city, 60% Islamabad population is living in slums. So government or the public sector or CDA cannot provide those facilities. We have to be incorporate the private and the cooperative setups to provide those services and to facilitate them, to regulate them, facilitate them and monitor them, and make the policies and rules and regulation which facilitating the development, not creating a hurdles in the way of the development. That is the requirements.
Absolutely. And you're so right where you say that it's not only the government that can actually, you know, fill this gap as well. Because 60%, it's actually shocking for us to learn, right? 60% of the population in the federal capital is actually slums.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I think everyone, like you said, Shahzad, has the right to look for a better life. If they think that there are better resources out there, everyone as a human, as a basic right, they do have it to actually go grab that opportunity as well.
Exactly.
But sir, you mentioned a very interesting thing that by 2040, a lot of our cities will be, heavily populated.
More than 50% our population will be living in urban
In the
areas.
city.
And
But
we can
imagine,
already see the traffic nightmares, within the city Islamabad we live in as well.
yeah, it is actually horrific. But does that mean, sir, that the geography of the city won't expand, right? That only means that that portion will be heavily populated with the resource burden. How will that happen?
Actually, as far as the city growth or the development is concerned,
Yeah.
I will mention few other points also, so
Okay.
which will support this urbanization
Okay.
in a planned way.
Okay.
So that's when the urbanization took place, that's what is happening. Why the peoples are migrating towards the urban centers?
Yeah, why?
Better jobs, better educations, better health conditions and all those things. And never migrations happens only for the purpose of the residents.
True.
Migration always, the first priority is always the economic reasons.
Right.
And
right.
then associated with the health and education and all other facilities. I have identified 11 points
Oh, wow.
which is very important to be addressed in order to have a planned development in a way that's where the people can live in a healthy environment.
Can we talk about
So,
that?
I will say about that. Number one, in all urban centers where we know at micro levels, government of Pakistan is providing a very benefit, a very conducive environment to the Mera Ghar Pakistan for the low income peoples.
Okay,
But
okay.
that is very micro level. At macro levels, we have to be involved all the developers and all the cooperative societies and provide the same facilities to them that they can produce the affordable income groups housing facilities.
Right.
Sir, I have a slight disagreement over here. I'm sorry that I'm interjecting as well, because most of the time the encroachment has taken place within these cooperative housing societies as well. And obviously, it's not that the administration never knew about it. The administration always knew about it. In some cases, they've been bribed. In some cases, they've been given a lot of money to just keep their mouth shut as well. And that's the kind of sector we're talking about, and we really need to talk about all the ill practices.
True.
But very quickly, where you said that it needs to be public-private partnership, but imagine that the policy making really needs to come from the government, and in fact dictated by the government. This is the rule of law, and that's how we really need to move towards urbanization. Over here, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are government servants and are blindfolded by the amount of money they might have received. I'm sorry, I'm not labeling or I'm not saying
It
that
does
there are
happen.
people who do that, but everybody knows that. We might have gone through it. If anybody wants to ask, I can share my own story.
In a
And
developing country, it
yeah,
happens.
and that's how illegal constructions take place, where there's a lot of problems, where we see that that all of those what do we call them? All of those nehrs are even yet clogged. So
Canals and
imagine that if we are going to talk about it, how will we find a resolve? So let's talk about finding a resolve and how will it happen, because it needs to be a trickle-down effect.
Actually, when you say about that, there are some illegal practices and all those things. This is happening in every societies. We are
True,
not saying
true,
that.
true.
But when we are providing the legislations or the rules, regulations which actually govern the developments, that should be support to the development. That should not be the hurdles in the way of the development.
true.
That becomes the reasons that such practices also comes.
True.
Secondly, we are all the part of the society, and in society every type of peoples are exist. So there are some, but the peoples who want to be do as per law in accordance with the laws, are we providing the services to them?
No.
That's the-
Unfortunately.
No, I
unfair.
will say that's in urban areas. It was happened that before 80s, all the housing sectors and all facilities was developed by the government of Pakistan, either the development authorities, municipal bodies, or housing and physical planning department. But it was come to a conclusion that public sector can't provide these facilities, and then they allowed to the private sector to perform. But to for the performance of the private sectors, did we make that transition of the rules regulation which facilitate them? No.
True. We
No,
never
I
did.
will indicate 11 points.
Yeah.
That's number one. In all urban areas where we have the municipal limits, so ban all illegal developments.
Yeah.
There should not be allowed a single house to be developed illegally.
Yeah.
Number one.
Agreed.
Number two, when a housing project comes, 20% pocket area should be compulsory acquired and should be declared as a public purpose.
Okay.
Otherwise, one project takes 20 years, 30 years due to the reasons that that's only a small pocket come in between and it will be hinder the whole project.
Exactly.
Right.
And who will be at last? The public. A project, say that 20 projects can come and we are only awaiting a one project. When 20 comes, that the prices will come down.
True.
The second is that the public sector finance to the housing projects, take it as an industry and provide them the facilities of financial facilities to the procurement of the land, then the infrastructure development and the development of the buildings.
Okay.
Then we have to be complete ban on the development on agriculture areas land.
That's something I
That's
wanted to
very
talk
important.
So
It will be a
important.
food security, but that's very important to critically define that who is the agriculture area and which is not the agriculture area.
True.
All over our Puthar region is not an agriculture area. It's a barren Banjar Kadim. It's called a Banjar Kadim.
Okay.
So it's the area which is the most suitable for the housing developments. So develop the industries here and provide them the services here so that the population should migrate here, not the Sundar industrial estate.
True.
Not the Faisalabad industrial estates. Make them in the, at a Lilla interchange, Chakri interchange, and all those areas, which is the barren areas, so that your population should not be established on the
Affected.
prime agriculture.
Or even
It should be on barren land, and then your CPAC route, which is also on the barren land, and use those areas.
Right.
So in all provinces, we can find those areas which are barren. In Islamabad and Pindi, and then the Chakwal, Jhelum and Attock, Rawalpindi districts, all are barren, 90% barren. So we can utilize and provide them the facility. It is also near to the capital, and also try to stop the expansion of the existing cities, make the new cities, the small cities. They
Okay.
should be integrated with the major cities through a mass transit system. So you will have a better facilities there and better management system there.
Okay.
No, I will go to other points. That's no, we should go as the government is also promoting the vertical developments.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
a planned vertical development, it will cater a few percentage of the urbanization population, not the 100%.
But
And then secondly, you have to be also think about that all our water bodies has been converted into sewer nalas.
Right.
So
There's no
in
fresh water body.
whole world, I'm working at the same time in Pakistan, in UAE and in North America.
Very nice.
So what I'm saying, the difference, all the developments on the water bodies is the best area and best lucrative area. We have converted into a slums and the sewerage.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
come to a conclusions that can our Baningala become the Beverly Hill? We have converted into a slums.
true.
So secondly, can the Sohan village, Shakrial, Iqbal town can be converted into F6, F7? Why not? What was done with those areas? So we have not provided them the facilities to the developments so that they should become in the project.
And they need to be
True,
provided as well. But thank you very much.
So one point very
Sir.
important, which you have started,
Yeah.
awareness to the public, that's the problem of the slums to the people's environment and people's living. So in the curriculum, we should involve a subject that we should live in an environment, a planned environment. It's not a matter that the house can be a 2 madla or a 2 canal. It's not matter. It should be planned.
Exactly, it should
Definitely.
be planned. Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation. And thank you very much for putting out all of these points, because these are the points which we have been talking about, we've been shouting about as well. We've been pushing them that's how we really need to grow and develop, so that after 12, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the line, our future generations are not complaining. They're like, hey, you know what, did you ever go to university or school? Weren't you educated that you were supposed to actually kind of induce a system of proper planned development.
Right, and Shahzad, you know, at this point where there's no proper planning in terms of urbanization in Pakistan, still 55% of Pakistan's GDP comes from urban areas.
Yep.
So if it is planned, imagine how greater that would be.
Yeah.
But just learning about all of this, I think my heart is sinking. It was such a heavy topic.
Don't let your heart sing, because I will actually make your heart sing, and there's a reason why I'm going to do that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, just a few days ago, we were very lucky to actually have Mirza Brothers over here in the studios with us. So what we did was that since we had the opportunity, we wanted them to sing, and we wanted their talent to be out there in front of the world. One of them happened to be a chartered accountant, and the other one an investment banker, and they left it all and they came back and they wanted to do music. They made a school as well.
Wow.
A lot of children are now studying, alhamdulillah, alongside their parents.
Wow.
So what we've done is that to stop your heart from sinking, we will make Mirza Brothers to sing. Please, Mirza
Wow.
Brothers, come on, share or spell your cast on to our audiences. Let's go, let's take a listen.
Thank you, Shahzad. Thank you for having us over. It was great coming to Islamabad for this beautiful, lovely show. My name is Mirza Hamza, and together we're the Mirza Brothers.
I'm Mirza Haider, and we go by the name Mirza Brothers, as Hamza already told you. So we have been doing music for quite some time now, and today the first song that we're gonna sing, it's a very popular English song, She Will Be Loved, and we're gonna improvise it. So inshallah you'll like it.
Let me tell you a story about She Will Be Loved. It was one of the first few songs that I used to listen to when I was in 8th grade, 8th in college. And the winter mornings I used to wake up and listen to this song whilst going to college. So we're going to harmonize a little bit on the chorus, and let's see how it goes. And please also follow us on Instagram and share. It's Mirza's Music. The same name is also on YouTube. So here it goes. She Will Be Loved. Beauty queen of only 18, she had some trouble with her son. He was always there to help her. She always belonged to someone else. I drove her miles and miles and wound up at your door. I've had you so many times, but somehow I want more. I don't mind spending every day on your corner in the pouring rain. Look for the girl with a broken smile. Ask her if she wants to stay a while, and she will be loved. And she will be loved, and she will be loved.
So yeah, this was our sort of innovation in this song. Hope you liked it. Yeah.
So we're gonna come to the second song. Shahzad, this is our second song, and it's going to be an OST. It's a very famous OST which we've also kind of improvised. So it's called Bol Kafara,
Yeah.
and recently we just picked it up, and we also posted a video on Instagram.
And it has very meaningful lyrics.
The lyrics are amazing, and we're gonna start from the middle, and this is how it goes. हमने जुगनू जुगनू करके तेरे मिलन के दीप जलाए हैं. हमने जुगनू जुगनू करके तेरे मिलन के दीप जलाए हैं, अखियों में मोती भर भर के तेरे हिजर में हाथ उठाए हैं, तेरे नाम के हर्फ की तस्वीर को सांसों के गले का हार किया, दुनिया भूली और सिर्फ तुझे ही प्यार किया, तुम जीत गए हम हारे और तुम जीत गए हम हारे और तुम जीते हो, लेकिन हम सा कोई हारा क्या होगा, तू बोल कफारा कफारा बोल कफारा, ओ यारा बोल कफारा, ओ यारा बोल कफारा क्या होगा, रे 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 सा नी रे 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 सा ममा गे रे 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 सा ममा गे रे 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 सा धा नी रे सा धा नी रे सा नी रे सा, तू बोल कफारा कफारा बोल कफारा कफारा बोल ओ यारा बोल कफारा क्या होगा, दिल गलती कर बैठा है, गलती कर बैठा है दिल, मेरे दिल की दिल से तौबा तौबा, मेरे दिल की तौबा, मेरे दिल से प्यार दोबारा ना होगा, तू बोल कफारा कफारा बोल कफारा कफारा बोल ओ यारा बोल कफारा क्या होगा।
ये तो नहीं कि
Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen. With me, I have the very helpful, the very cooperative and learned Shahzad Khan. I am Shiza Hashmi, and in this segment, we are going to talk about something so important. The thing is, we have spoken about this very issue so many times, and I'm proud to do that. And every other time, whenever there is a need, Shahzad, then I will be here to do that. Women harassment in workplaces especially. We will definitely discover the different types of harassment, but a very small story if I can share, Shahzad.
Sure.
Metaverse is a thing. It's a newer concept going on. So basically
Alternate
a virtual,
reality.
yeah. Thank you for the perfect word. Alternate reality, or a virtual world where everything is going to operate in. Just this morning, I woke up and due to the nature of my job, I have to go through news and everything. And the first news that comes on TRT World is a woman was gang raped on Metaverse. So is that making sense to you, Shahzad? Imagine in a virtual world.
in some way it's just everything is intangible.
Yes, so 5 avatar men gang raped an avatar woman. And it's disturbing because all of them had humans behind them. Isn't it sickening to you?
It is.
Was this world not enough for physically being violated for women to actually go into a virtual space and be violated again?
I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but I don't know. I mean, whoever actually designed this metaverse, ladies and gentlemen, how did he even come up with this idea that people should be able to do that in the first place?
Yes, I agree
think
with
that's
you.
the person who needs to be blamed.
Yes, so the vice president for Metaverse actually, used the words that the woman might not have activated her security settings, or the beta version does not allow you to activate your security settings yet.
Yeah.
When you'll be able to do that, no one will rape you. I don't understand that. I'm sorry to bring this disturbing story towards you, but the only reason is to discuss harassment, different forms of it, how to actually go about it if it did happen to you eventually, right? I'm sure
Exactly.
you might have a lot of questions about it too.
Exactly. Obviously, I do have a lot of questions because, I certainly, even as a man, because most of the time, ladies and gentlemen, it's the men who are accused to be harassing women, and that to at workplace even as well.
Yeah.
The last time we actually had the law was made in 2010, which
Yeah.
was a little obsolete, and then, there were a few reforms required. So, alhamdulillah, back in December, there's a newer act which is out as well. We want to explore on that. And, as a person, as a human being, I'm just confused whether, when should I say that if somebody has harassed me? Or when should a woman should be saying that, he or she has been actually harassed? I mean, that's something which I certainly want to talk about.
And you're right to think that, Shazad, because in some cases, women actually falsely harass men, or, vice versa as well. That can ruin someone's life. So while we need to learn what counts as harassment, we also need to learn what doesn't, so that not an innocent man's life is ruined.
So, which is why I'm going to be very careful today, ladies and gentlemen. We're very lucky that we've been joined by our elder Api over here in the studios with us. She happens to be the Deputy Director of Women Development Center, Rawalpindi. She is Miss Yamna Mir. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum, good morning. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting
Thank you so
me.
much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you, Api. And I really need to ask you this because, once I was traveling from Chicago to Vegas, but not a wonderful place to kind of talk about on television. So there was this Philippine lady who was sitting right next to me, and then so after a while she told me that she's not actually a lady and she's not even a man, she was a transgender.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, what am I supposed to call you? Either it's going to be a he or a she. And then she all of a sudden goes like that, if you call me he, I can actually sue you for that. And I was like, hey, you know what, I never knew that. So how do we draw the line where we know that, okay, that this comes under the umbrella of harassment and this does not? So किस ज़ुमरे में harassment आती है और किस में नहीं आती?
Thank you very much. First of all, we need to understand what is harassment.
And types of it as
yeah,
well.
and types of harassment. Harassment is any act which is unwelcome, which is either it is
जैसे
verbal,
गेस्ट आ गए घर पे छोड़ harassment हो गई अब भाई बुलाया नहीं था
not
आपको
at
क्यों आ
all.
गया?
नहीं ऐसी बात नहीं है. Any unwelcome gesture
Okay.
or physical assault or comment which is creating a hostile environment or antagonistic feelings or uncomfortable situation for the victim. This is comes under the umbrella term of harassment. There are mainly three types of harassment in Pakistan we are dealing with. One is the written or verbal harassment, the second one is the physical harassment, and the third one is visual harassment.
All right.
All right.
Visual.
Visual.
We are all the time focusing on physical harassment
Yeah.
and ignoring those two harassments,
Please
which are
enlighten
very.
us.
I mean, we have the
which are
Usman
very
Mirza case
prevalent.
right
Yeah.
in front of us, where there were
Exactly.
people, who made people take off their clothes, unfortunately, and that's what you call mutual harassment.
Yeah, exactly. So when we discuss the physical harassment, it is not considered in Pakistan as a harassment by at large, or we think that these are just comments or verbal or gestures, or these are in the form of jokes. Or
मर्द हैं, ऐसे ही
mocking,
होते हैं, हाँ.
mocking and comments, negative comments.
So dropping jokes where you want people to read in between the lines, and,
Yeah,
flirting and all of that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
yeah, these type of comments, or even deteriorating someone's self-image or personality dignity.
Okay.
These all comes under the propagation of false reputation
But what if
of
you're
others.
saying the truth, even if it's false, it's not false reputation, the person actually has a bad
But
reputation.
this is not a right of a person to comment in front of all or publicly
And
announce.
if he or
It
she is
might
being asked,
count
just
as
because I want to
libel.
understand, if he or she is being asked about someone, I mean, obviously we shouldn't be doing anybody's burai, ladies and gentlemen. We shouldn't be backbiting. But if it is eminent for you to kind of share
testify?
it with somebody else, because otherwise they can land into trouble or problem, how would you do that?
But professionally, I don't think we should do this. This is their personal matter, so you should choose the domain.
Okay.
Right. So I think
Public
both
and
of you are
private.
right in a way, because both of you, I feel, are talking about
See,
different
we are
things.
still jinxed. That's what I wanted to kind of I wanted the audience to know that, you know, how confused we are when it comes
Yeah,
down to
we are
harassment.
confused,
You know, we're
definitely.
still confused whether, okay, you know, we should tell somebody that, okay, you know, this man or woman can be dangerous to you, or we should not, you know.
You're right.
So if
But
it
you,
comes
we
under
should
the law of
avoid
harassment-
gossips
Okay.
or comments, definitely, or because this is a
तो
form
बहने
of
की तरह कह
propaganda.
देती, "चल निकल
ये
इधर से।"
बहुत dangerous है. This is very dangerous that
Yeah.
we, through our verbal communications, we are destroying the other's self-image or others' respect, dignity, or which is creating problems for in future for others.
That
The
is true.
gossips
So many
turns
people
around.
have so much false respect over here in Pakistan
Yes,
anyways,
sir.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. But let's
it's
try
so
to
hard.
understand the act first
yeah,
of all.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So the second one is physical harassment, that is also workplace violence, considered as workplace violence.
Okay.
It's forceful sexual assaults or touching, rubbing, or any physical attempt, grabbing someone in front of others,
Right,
or
right.
it comes under the sexual harassment. And the third one is visual, which you have already explained, that exposes of your body without the consent of others, or throwing nasty messages or videos which are arousing sexual desires. These all comes under the visual harassment, so which the cyber security they are dealing with this.
Okay.
So Pakistan, after rectifying the CEDAW,
Ji.
this is obligatory for Pakistan to do more for working women, or provide conducive environment for working women. So in 2010, protection of harassment against harassment of women at workplace 2010 Act was promulgated. So the Act is giving.
Yeah, I want you to continue, of course, but just to add a little to it as well, it did come into place in 2010, the Act itself, because women in Pakistan have been definitely in the working spaces for so long, but there were no laws. Now in 2010, it did come into place. But recently, for so many years, Nigadad and the likes of you and similar women, they have been fighting for amendments, and they finally happened in December, right?
Yeah.
So that makes me believe that a lot of things might have been changed in the 2010
Yeah,
Act.
yeah,
so what are the
definitely.
newer and the different things?
The definition of workplace was not clear
What
in
is it now?
2010 Act.
Okay.
They only consider the official formal working relation, like officer and subordinate, in a certain formal settings.
Okay.
Now the space is widened. In 2021, they have amended and included women working in houses,
Oh, okay.
or online working women, or sports women, and also universities are included in
And
the
that was the
premises
need
of
of the-
workplace.
In the
Definition
premises
of
of workplace,
yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. But while we talk about it, I think there's one more important aspect, because I've seen 2 or 3 of examples within, you know, an office where I used to work before, where people were very well connected. And imagine that, you know, so there was this lady who came up with these phone calls and videos where the boss was actually harassing her. And imagine what happened was that the lady unfortunately had to quit the job,
Yeah.
because the people at the higher level or the highest level were friends with the boss I was working under. And how do you think that this act will actually kind of go behind all of those people who have tried protecting the person who's made other person a victim?
Yeah, I am a sociologist. I am doing my PhD in sociology. I am dealing with these
You
issues.
closer to anthropology as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, first of all, this is the responsibility of state to give structure. Structural amendments are in the kind of law.
Right.
And the other one is the functional or social amendments, requirements or changes, which are taking place. But first we need the structure. Then automatically
Everything
we will be
come in place.
amendments will be adjusted in a society. So the government has given us the Harassment Act. Although, like all other 155 countries, in Pakistan this is not properly appropriately implemented, but but it existed, or we have a protection. If we know, if we are aware about this law, or we are not aware about this women harassment law at large, women are not go through all the content of this law.
And not
So,
every channel wants to share
yeah.
it as well, yeah.
They were, the law encompasses, they have given 2 types of penalties, major and minor penalties to harasser.
Okay.
You know, first of all, the women who is being harassed, she should visit, contact to status on the Commission of Women, who are either in the form of a written application or on their portal.
Okay.
She will lodge her complaint, and the commission ombudsperson will send her complaint to her organization. Or you know, government has formulated committees, harassment committees in all organizational structures. So they will go through the content of the application, and then I will decide according to the act.
Exactly, and you know, since we are talking on a micro level as well, I want to kind of touch upon the macro level. I mean, if you can guide us in that way, because we have seen a lot of media houses, a lot of organizations tarnishing the image of a person they might have had personal vendetta with. And do you think that that comes under the umbrella of harassment as well? Because you know, every day we see that, you know, there are people who've been told that, you know, okay, these are the people everybody needs to kind of stay away. Or you know, earlier in childhood we used to have these T-shirts where, you know, the T-shirts used to say, "You are the guy my mother told me never to talk to," or something like that. So you know, this is, and it is always agenda based as well. May
Yeah,
it
I
be within
know.
the opposition parties,
Yeah.
may it be within the ruling party as well. It always happens. So does that come under the umbrella of harassment,
You are talking on the male perspective.
or male or female?
Or
Because
female.
harassment is for everyone.
Definitely
Yeah.
harassment is
We
for
cannot
everyone.
discriminate. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, but this law is usually encompassing women,
Right.
women
Wow.
rights.
Because we never felt somebody
Because we are
actually
living in a
harassed us.
patriarchal society, or
Okay, I'm going to share an example. It is a very interesting example. So
Yeah.
what happened, and this has happened to me twice or thrice, where I felt that I'm being harassed. Okay, so
And you can be right about
exactly.
it.
So imagine, so I went to an event where there was a singer performing right over there, and you know, this lady has managed this wonderful event, and this lady was sitting right next to me, and then there was this one fabulous cricketer I'm friends with. He was sitting over here, and just to talk to him, she started leaning on to me, and she started leaning in such a bad manner that I actually had to say, "Auntie, please, you know, you really need to watch my space at least." And that was the moment when I realized that, you know, this is what you call harassment. So the law really, or the act, needs to encompass each and every individual, may it be males, may it be females, may it be transgenders.
transgenders. Okay.
Definitely, I agree with you
Thank you.
totally. And this particular one happens to be for women in workplaces, but you can and you have the right as a Pakistani citizen to report anything untoward that might have happened to you.
Yeah, मासूम लगती हैं ख़वातीन।
नहीं,
But
but
it does
look
happen.
at the case of teacher of MEO college who
Yeah,
commits
yeah, yeah.
suicide.
Right,
That,
because of
it was
false
a- yeah,
allegations.
false
Imagine,
allegation.
that's so unfortunate. But very quickly towards the end, this is a very important question, so we can't miss it. So you wrap it up with it, right? Digital Foundation FIA's reports say that a lot of cases are not reported for different reasons. Women just don't have, a lot of them just don't have it in them to come forward and report what happened to them. Even if they report, they don't want something to happen to the culprit. They don't want justice. They just want the content to be off social media, or you know, just the content to be gone. Why do you think that happens? Because if 100% reporting comes forward, I think we can go somewhere.
Yeah, women constitute 48% of our population, and 21% in labor force participation. Women
Okay.
are there.
Okay.
So the main issue is the taboos. I'm a sociologist. I will talk about those
Yeah.
taboos or cultural reasons. That while if they are going to file these reports, they have a threat of being rejected in a society, to lose their friends and family members or relationships. The second one is that they will be threatened by the harasser also, right?
Yes.
The quitting of job, you have already explained it, that they will be fired, or they have a fear of getting, they won't be able to get a new job because society will stigmatize them. We are living in a patriarchal
It is
society,
true, it is true.
male-dominated society. And the third one is that women are not raising their voices. They are considering this, I already explained that the verbal or written harassment, they are not taking it as an harassment. Right? This is a normal attitude of a male, or they are commenting or do in a normal way. So they have accepted that this is a normal behavior. Unless they will not come up with this knowledge that this is harassment, and when they will file the case, they will combat or minimize or stop this harassment.
Yeah.
Right? This is the need of the time, that we should, the woman should name that person, and the shame associated with that harasser it will stop him harassing other women. Otherwise,
Do you
you
think
are
it will
making
happen?
harasser more powerful.
Do you think it
Exactly.
will happen if they do come up?
Yeah, sure, why not? But they should speak up.
I think
Raise
the
your
fear
voice.
is larger. The fear of being attacked again is larger than actually not naming, you know, the culprit.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Imagine
society.
because all of a sudden we see, I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but all of a sudden within even on Usman Mirza case, the latest
deny
updates
it.
are that the lady and the boy are saying that they really do not want to kind of go or pursue the case, and now I think it's the state which will be pursuing the case as well. And yes, we need to make an example out of these vulturistic
Yes.
people.
We should turn the question around, and we are here for the to deal with harasser, not to target someone.
True, yes.
Or
Not the
we will
victim.
have to give the strength to those
Yeah.
victims to come up and speak up.
All right.
Absolutely.
So we can come
Thank
back
you
and
very
stop
much, Ms.
this.
Yamna Mir, for being
Thank
with
you,
us. Lovely
thank
to
you
be
very
in
much.
conversation with you, Api. It's and you know, and
My
very sorry
pleasure.
that I actually had to stop you because there's another Api who really needs to go to her news desk as well. But for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure, be very careful with your words because you really do not want to kind of being pursued by the agencies, and that too because you were a harasser. Oh my God, that would be the last day of my life, God forbid.
Right, and for all the 21% women of Pakistan who are right now operating in workspaces, I want you to today educate yourself about the new amendments in this very act so that you can be
Father.
safe in your places as well. Till the next time, take care. 1, 2, 3. Good
Good morning.
morning.